Hey, what's up? This is AZ Wallbreaker, here to help you, to inspire you to be epic, be legendary. This is my channel Wallbreakers, and today I'm going to be talking about two subjects. Before I get into those two subjects, I just want you to make sure that you hit the like or subscribe button. Also, share my stories to help inspire other people. Alright, so now that that's covered, we're going to talk about the two subjects I'm going to talk about, which are my book, how is my book going, and writer's block. Alright, so today we're going to focus on my book, what's going on last week. As I told you, if you watched my blog, which I suggest you watch, on my book writing, I was pressing to try to finish my chapter 5 of my book, and that's because I only had really 4 days of writing my book, and I really was pushing to finish my book. I was in the zone Monday through about late Thursday, and I managed to progress through my book as I was typing, and I managed to get close to finishing. Unfortunately, as I just said, I did not finish, and that was because of a lot of factors, such as writer's block. And there's two forms of it that I will discuss next in my next topic. But I just want to focus on how my writing was going. It was very, it was good. It was fine. I managed to progress through it, and I I didn't finish. I didn't finish chapter 5 as I wanted to. I'm very angry at myself because I knew I needed to get this done. I'm falling behind my writing, my deadlines of what I wanted to accomplish last week. But that's okay. Stuff happens, and I just gotta move on and just continue to write. So that's what I plan to do for this week. This week I plan to focusing on finishing chapter 5 and moving on to chapter 6, and just get through chapter 5, get through chapter 6, and then do another video and post it up on YouTube to let y'all know how I am doing with my writing. But this is getting to my next topic, and that is writer's block. What I found that there are two versions of writer's block that really affected me in completing my book. The first one is writer's block short term and writer's block long term. I'm going to discuss each one. So I'm going to start with writer's block short term. That was the one that got me to not finish my chapter 5 like I wanted to. Right, and to me, writer's block short term is when you're trying to find, you get caught up on that, trying to find that perfect word, that perfect sentence, that perfect description, and trying to tell your story. And you get caught up into it, and you just can't figure out what you're looking for to help your story to be the best it can be. So you get stuck at that part of your book that you're struggling, and you just lose focus, and you're not in the zone anymore. And that's what happened to me last week. I got stuck at a certain part of my book in chapter 5, and and I couldn't. I just was trying to look for that perfect word, that perfect sentence, that perfect description to help me write the book the way I wanted to write it, and it it got me stuck to the point where I was not focused. I lost focus in my book, and that's the issue I talk about when you're dealing with writer's block short term. Is that writer's block is a natural thing for all writers. It happens to all writers. When you stop writing a book or stop writing anything, you're in writer's block mode. You're not focused. You're not in the zone of what you're trying to write. And like, say that you're taking a break to go to bed. Now you're not in writer. You're not writing. You're in writer's block mode. So writer's block is a natural thing. It's okay. The problem that you will face is the fact that distraction starts creeping in. And that's what happened to me. I noticed that when I was in the writer's block mode, I not only lost focus, but also I tend to focus on other things that I didn't need to focus on. So I would be playing with my Spotify, the internet, I turn on the TV to watch the stuff. So I was having concentration leaks that I needed to plug up and focus back on writing my book. And that really took away the time necessary for me to complete chapter 5, which is the reason why I did not complete chapter 5. So I had to. I got angry at first, but I didn't allow it to stop me from writing. It's just that I was stuck at the moment of trying to figure out something. But I was very distracted and I didn't focus, and I blame myself for not concentrating on my book, because that's what's going to destroy you into trying to finish your book, is those distractions when you get into writer's block mode, is when you're concentrating on other stuff. Now you're prolonging finishing your book, and now that mental lapse comes in to where you start questioning yourself. Are you going to finish your book? Are you ever going to finish your book? And that's not what you want. If you're a writer, you need to pour all your energy in trying to complete this book as fast as possible. And that's what I need to focus on. So what I thought of were two strategies to help me better deal with writer's block short term. And my first one is do a filler. Do a filler. Doesn't matter how stupid, how ridiculous, how silly it sounds. Whether if it doesn't make sense in the book, just put a filler in. If it's not that important of of your story, you just need to put it in there, because you need to understand that you're doing a draft. We are all doing a draft. There's no such thing as a perfect draft. When you're doing a draft, you can change, you can add, you can change, subtract. You can do whatever you want with your draft. You just need to finish the damn book. And that is what you need to focus on. That's what I need to focus on, is finishing the damn draft, to where now I have something that I can go back to, I can refer to. So when you're doing your draft, the important thing is to finish the book, and that's what I feel kills a lot of potential writers. They have great ideas. A lot of them have great ideas probably, and they just don't finish it because they allow writer's block to creep in. Which, like I said, it is a natural thing to have writer's block when you're writing, no matter what. But then that writer's block turns into a distraction. You get distractions. You pay attention to the internet. You pay attention to Spotify. You pay attention to your family. Even though you don't really need to at that moment, and your mind goes elsewhere rather than your book, and that's what prolongs it and makes it a challenge to finish the book. And that's what we need to remind ourselves, to finish the book. So the best way that I'm going to do this is to just put a filler and just move on and stay in the zone. That is the key. Stay in the zone. Don't leave it until you are done writing for that period of time, for that period. So just don't focus on trying to find that perfect sentence, that perfect description. Just fill it in and just move on. Alright, so my second technique would be, if it's a very important thing that you need to have that word, that sentence in, that description in, you need to get off the computer, start writing, and get another piece of paper and just write down a list of stuff. Brainstorming. It's amazing that even though we consider brainstorming the first part, you never really stop brainstorming. You are constantly thinking about how to make the story better. You're constantly thinking how to give a certain description. You're trying to be vivid as possible. You're trying to think of new ideas to make your story better. So your brainstorming is a continuation from the start to the end, no matter what. And that's very important. So for me, if I get writer's block, I just need to stop, get off the computer, sit down with a pen and paper and just write a list of stuff so I stay in the zone until I find what I'm looking for. And I try it out and see it. But my point to dealing with writer's block short term is stay in the zone. Do not lose focus. Stay in the zone until you're done writing the book, or until you're done writing a certain part of your book that you can take a break and do other things. Because your book, if you have a great idea and you know it, you need to share it to the world. You need to let the world know your ideas, and they can't do that if you can't finish the product. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're all looking for as readers, as many readers. They want to see a finished product. And you can't do that if you're so caught up in other distractions that you're prolonging what you're writing. So that's the two techniques I'm going to do for writer's block short term. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So the next thing I am going to talk about is writer's block long term. And this I thought about this while I was on my trip to Hersheys Park, which I will be posting up under Wall Breakers Travel Life. So please take the opportunity to check that out, as well as my other videos too. But writer's block long term, and the way I define that is how you're going to finish your book. How are you going to end the book? I'm sure there's certain writers who are beginning writers, amateur writers like myself, who are beginning. They have a great idea. They're writing. They're in the zone. They got it, but they haven't asked the question, how are you going to finish the book? And that right there will set you up for writer's block long term. Like I said before, writer's block is a normal thing. It's going to happen. It comes in different shapes and sizes, depending on what you're writing. For instance, for me, I'm writing a fantasy book, and I get writer's block constantly because I'm writing something that's not real. So I'm thinking of new things. I'm thinking of new ideas. That's not real because it's a fantasy book. So I'm sure that many fantasy writers face writer's block, and they have to figure out strategies to overcome it. But writer's block long term makes writing the book very difficult, because if you don't know how to end it, you are now either going to be stuck with an unfinished product, or you're going to keep writing to the point that now you added more work for yourself, that you have to go back and figure out what you did cut out, what you did change, and what you need to address in that book. And the key thing is, I mean, you set a deadline for yourself. You know what you want to accomplish and finish when you write your book. So you need to be sure that you have an idea of what you are going to end with. And that goes back to writer's block short term. That's coming up with fillers, filling the ending, and then be able to change it, or just coming out with a list, like sitting down with a pen and paper and having a list of stuff to write about for your ending. Because when you are near the end, every book has an ending. Everything has to end. There's an ending to something. So you need to figure out what your ending is. Fortunately for me, because I did a first draft, which is a big help. Writing a first draft helps. I have an idea of how I want to end my first book, which is going to save me a lot of time once I get to that point of my writing. So those are the two writer's blocks that I wanted to cover with. And I wanted to give you an update of how my book is, how is it going, and what I plan to do this week. So my question to you is how, if you're a writer like myself, if you're a beginning writer, how is your book going? How are you dealing with the pressures of trying to write your ideas and be able to share it to the world? Also, how do you deal with the writer's blocks? Do you have other forms of writer's blocks that come into your mind when you are writing? I mean, I just mentioned two that I noticed for myself. How do you deal with them? What are your strategies for them? So please comment below. And like I said, please hit subscribe, like if you like this. Also, I'm on Instagram under AZ Wallbreaker. So please take this opportunity, share my stories, inspire other people. So I'll be signing out. And remember,